The recording has started. I'm Rick Butler, the Deputy Director of Membership. I'm here with Bob Kreider, the Director, and we're going to go through a few slides here and just talk about membership and recruiting. Remember, recruiting is a team effort. It's important that the next generation of VFW leaders knows how to recruit. There's always a lot of people in your post or in your districts or your department that are really good recruiters. We have our Dennis Flynn's in Missouri. We have our Ken Kraft out in Oregon. It's great to have those guys, but they can't do it all themselves. I can't say it enough. As we travel around the country and we do the classes and we talk about recruiting and training other recruiters and bringing them along to kind of get mentored to see how the successful recruiters recruit, we still have a lot of recruiters trying to do it all themselves. And you can't do that. If everybody in your post district brought you one or two, goal would be made pretty easily. When you got one or two guys trying to put in hundreds, it's a lot of work for them, a lot of gas money for them, a lot of time invested. To be successful in recruiting as a post and as a department, you need to motivate as many as you can at all levels to help you out and provide training as necessary, and ask us if you need help. We always talk about fail to plan and plan to fail. You know, I mean, I can't say that enough as well. When you're setting up your membership programs, the membership year runs from July 1st to the end of June. I'm still getting calls. I got one yesterday wanting to know if the membership program was available online. If the plan in place for that post or that district or that department for recruiting is just now taking off, and they're just now kind of getting knee deep into the weeds trying to set up their membership plan for the year, they're way behind the power curve. The membership program is online and available May of every year prior to the start of the new membership year. And you got to stress to your post that when you're setting up your membership plan, you have to look at the department's membership goals and plans, and you have to look at National's membership goals and plans. If you're just going out and shooting from the hip, and you don't have attainable goals, and you don't have a plan in place that's going to make the post and the department successful, you're spending a lot of wasted time. So when you go out and talk to people, I had a young man just come into my office yesterday saying, hey, I'm trying to help recruit, but I don't know how to answer the questions. They asked me, I ask them if they're interested in the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and they say, well, I don't know. And then he didn't know how to respond to the answer. So we're going to talk about indifference for a second. Indifference. Please turn your speaker off, please. Aaron, we have a lot of feedback. Stop.
Oh, okay.
Turn your speakers and or your mic off, please. Thank you. Whoever was talking about calling back, please turn your mic off. Indifference, when you talk to somebody, it's affecting the recording. It's going to be all blurry when you get it.
Just tell them all, please, everyone, please turn off your microphones.
If you don't know how to turn it off, unplug it, please.
Dean House, your microphone is on. Denise, your microphone is on. Dennis, your microphone is on. Please turn them off.
And the importance of this is we're recording it so we can share, and we want to make sure that there's the least amount of feedback as we can. So when we send it out and play it back, they can at least get the words we're trying to say. But the lack of interest or concern about something, when something has no importance one way or the other, indifference, is what you're going to run into 99% of the time when you meet a potential new member. And they're indifferent only because they don't know what the VFW has to offer. So joining may be a benefit to them, it may not be, but unless you explain to them why it's a value to them, they're just going to be happy in their current situation. So we're going to talk about ways to maybe spark an interest in them when you're talking to them. Next. Interviewing, when you first meet a new person, first and most important, if you ask a question, listen to the answer. More times than not, when we go out and start talking to somebody about the Veterans of Foreign War, start asking them the hard questions about service and where they served and did they serve overseas. We start asking questions, and as they start answering the questions, we continue to talk and we don't listen to what they're actually saying. So if you're going to talk to somebody about the Veterans of Foreign Wars, take the time to listen to what they're saying. Sure, when you meet
Ski, would you turn your
Can I see the mouse? I'm going to try to mute. A friendly welcome and introduction. When you meet somebody on the street for the first time and you're talking about the Veterans of Foreign Wars, let them know who you are and who you represent. Let them know, hey, I'm Rick Butler. I'm with the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Get away from acronyms. A lot of people don't know what VFW is. I apologize. Stop it. Can't see this. I'm going to pause it for 1 second. I'll be back live now. So thank you again. I apologize. Again, use a friendly welcoming and introduction when you meet somebody. Just minimize that on the top. Okay. Thank you. Try it again. A friendly welcoming and introduction followed by the reason you're meeting. Too many times when we go up to somebody, we ask them if you're a member of the VFW, and half the time they don't know what we're talking about. In a nutshell, make sure you say Veterans of Foreign Wars. Kind of like the military when you got out and you went back to the friendly civilian world. A lot of the acronyms we use, we know them and we see them every day, but a potential member may not know off the top of their head. We're not well advertised like we should be sometimes, and if you get away from acronyms, it'll be better. Use open and closed-ended questions to see if the member is eligible for membership. When I say that, open-ended questions are, tell me about where you served overseas. It gives them a chance to open up and talk to you. A closed-ended probe would be something like, did you serve overseas? The answer has to be yes or no. If you use those open-ended questions and closed-ended questions, you can ask 4 or 5 questions, and in 3 to 5 minutes, you'll know if the person's going to be eligible for the Veterans of Foreign Wars and if you should continue on with the interview or not. If they are eligible, continue on with the interview, sell the Veterans of Foreign Wars to them, and try to make them a potential member. If they're not eligible and they never served in a place that makes them eligible, you still want to leave them with a friendly taste of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. And there's always the ladies auxiliary, the men's auxiliary. There's other options for them. Make sure you probe into all those options as well. And then you can always ask them for referrals, even if they haven't served overseas. And when you get done talking to them, they may know the next door neighbor did. So ask for referrals. And when you meet somebody, keep it 3 to 5 minutes. Keep it short enough that you're not wasting their time or yours. Next. Again, I can't stress enough. Pay attention when you're asking questions when you're doing a sale on the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Too many times we'll ask a question and we don't listen to the answer, or our phone will ring, or we'll get a text and we'll start looking at the text and then we'll look up and say what, or yeah, and we didn't really hear them. If you're going to interview somebody and sell the Veterans of Foreign Wars and why it's important to be a member, concentrate on what they're saying, listen to what they're saying, and ignore all the outside distractions. Give them your full attention. Make them feel important as you're interviewing them. And make sure you focus on what they're telling you, because they're going to tell you what's important to them. Kind of going back to the indifference we talked about earlier. They don't know if it's important to them because they don't know what we have to offer. So you want to really listen to what's important to them. So when you're selling the organization, you can key in on the facts that they say are important. A lot of times you're going to get objections. It's not uncommon, especially the indifferent person, when you ask them about joining the Veterans of Foreign Wars, um, and you found out they're eligible, and you move into some selling, and you ask them the hard question. Sometimes you don't get the answer you're looking for. The most important thing you can do if you get an objection to joining the Veterans of Foreign Wars is to stay positive. Acknowledge their point of view. You know, I mean, if you argue with them about, well, I don't see why that's important, you're not going to go anywhere with them. But if you acknowledge, hey, Bob, I understand what you're saying, that makes a lot of sense, and many other people have felt that way. Do you mind if I ask you a few more questions? You keep it on a positive tone, and they're more relaxed, and they're willing, hey, he does understand what I'm saying. They're gonna be willing to talk to you. If you're not 100% sure what they're saying to you, their objection may just be a misunderstanding. The best way to resolve that is to restate what they said to them. So what you're saying is this. And they're going to say, well, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And now you know how to address it. Or they're going to say, well, no, what I really mean. And they'll give you a little bit more information. So keep it like you're selling anything. Keep it open-minded. Restate the question to make sure you understand. And if you do understand the question, the next part is ask permission to ask more questions. Hey, I understand you're not interested right now, or I understand, you do have an objection or a concern. Do you mind if I ask you a few more questions? The simple asking permission to ask more questions and them giving you the yes, the nod up and down, that's them giving you the open to go ahead and continue on. It don't mean pester them for another 20, 30 minutes. It means see if you can resolve their concern or objection, resell the organization. You don't want to have more than 2 objections before you agree to do a follow-up. But ask permission to ask questions. After you uncover the concern, refocus on the benefits of the organization. There are going to be some objections or some concerns or some things that the Veterans of Foreign Wars can't or does not do that's very important to a potential member. And we can make note, and we can maybe add it to our post, or maybe add it to our department, or even nationally, maybe we need to change a few things from time to time. But if there's an objection you can't overcome, you're going to have to agree with them, hey, we can't do this, and refocus important why the organization still has value to them and why it's still important for them to be a member. Always finish with trying to, in sales says, close the deal. Always ask them to join. Even if you had a couple of objections, if you don't ask them the questions, the answer is always going to be no. If you go step back and you probe 2 or 3 times and you still get a no, then you need to just agree to disagree at the time and ask them if you can set up a follow-up. A lot of times you don't get the sale on the first time. And it doesn't matter if it's joining the Veterans of Foreign Wars or if you're trying to sell a house or sell a car. A lot of times it takes 2, 3, 4 visits in order for them to be comfortable enough to buy from you. And it's the same thing when you're joining your organization. They may come off their indifference and they may say we're important, but they may not be willing to buy right then. If you agree to follow up, it's key that you follow up with them. Hey, I know you're not into, right now you're not willing to join. I appreciate that. I gave you a lot of good information. Bob, do you care if I call you in 2 weeks to see how things are going? He's going to say yes. And he might be doing it just to see if I'm going to be important enough to follow up with him or if I was just a number for that day. If you agree to follow up, follow up. Ask them to join. If you get a yes, help them fill out the application. Fill it out for them. We have members that struggle to fill it out. So 2 things are accomplished if you fill it out for them. 1, you know it's filled out correctly. You can read your own writing. You can write legibly. And 2, it keeps you engaged with the member. You have to ask them, what is your address? What is your email? What is your phone number? Instead of you filling out, looking at your computer and surfing the net or taking a phone call or texting while they're filling out the application, you're staying engaged with that potential new member. So help them fill it out. That's the best practice. Even if you don't get the sale that day and they don't join, thank them. Leave them with a positive taste about the Veterans of Foreign Wars. They're going to go home knowing that the organization has value and they're doing good things in the community, and they may come back. They may call you up and say, hey, I thought about last month or last year. It doesn't matter. Leave them with a positive taste and always ask for referrals. We vote a lot of times because we focus in on the one member and whether he joins don't join, we call it a day. I don't know any person that does not know a veteran. So make sure when you meet people, run into people, even if they're not eligible, ask them about people they know. Ask for referrals, names, and numbers. You can't stress enough. You're already at no, you have nothing to lose. When you train recruiters at the post level, keep it simple. Teach them the fact sheet and a few other things like that that gives them relevant proof on the organization, and ask the hard question when they're done, yes or no. A lot of times I hear from recruiters, well, I don't want to pester somebody. I asked him, he said no, so I'm not going to call him back. Rejections, that's a natural part of sales. It doesn't matter what you're selling. It doesn't matter what's going on. Persistence is not pestering. You can pester somebody, but pestering would be, I asked you a question and I explained the benefits of the Veterans of Foreign War. No, we've backed up, asked you again. Once we get 6 or 7, 8 objections and I continue to just drill you to join, pestering. Persistence, if you do a follow-up in 2 weeks, that's natural progression in sales. That's needed in order to be successful. So don't misunderstand, persistence is not pestering. If you sell the organization and really sell the benefits and what the VFW as an entire organization is doing, you're going to get more people to join than you get to say no. Talking about the organization, it's got to be more than just, are you a member? Why not? Give me your dues. You got to speak with some passion. You got to speak with some knowledge about the organizations. If you put a lot of on the table and you explain what the organization's doing and you show an emotion that this is important to you, people want to be part of that and they're going to want to ask more questions and learn more about the organization. Most sales calls taking multiple follow-ups to close the deal. Going back distance is not pestering. If you agree to follow up. I would follow up at least 2 times before I move them out and not follow up again for a few months. I'd go out about 2 weeks. If I still get a rejection, I go about 30. And if they're still kind of on the fence, you can't really close the deal, I recommend 1 or 2. One, have someone go with you. You may just not be very good at closing the deal, and you might just be missing something and somebody else might be able to help you. Or a lot of times people procrastinate. They went from being indifferent and not really knowing nothing about the organization to there's still no real gain for them to be members. So it's just going to take follow-ups. Move them out about 6 months, follow up with them, see how they're doing. In order to be successful in anything, you have to role play. When you go out and you do a recruiting class for your members and you go to a post or a district and you do a 2 or 3 hour recruiting seminar and you hand out the pamphlets on how to do a campaigning on the post level and the pocket guide to successful recruiting and the membership training guide, and you bring them all these tools to get them to be dangerous, they're still not going to be effective until they practice. The general rule of thumb is it takes one, if you're married, practice on your spouse. So the terms of foreign wars are the auxiliary to your spouse. Practice a few times, do a few role plays, handle a few objections. If you're at a recruiting class, don't be afraid to role play. And if you're alone and you're a long ways from other people, but you still kind of want to practice your niche down and practice answering questions, stand in front of a mirror. That's a great way to practice public speaking. You kind of get to see how hard and you get to react. Practice makes perfect. And if you still need help, call us. We're here to help you. We can give you some advice, kind of scoot you down the right direction if you're struggling with recruits and getting new members in. If you have somebody in your district department successful, to network. Don't be afraid to give them a call and ask them how they're doing. Heck, I would take the recruiter sheet and see who's got more than 10 in the nation, and I'd randomly call other successful recruiters to see how they're doing it. What's working out in Montana may or may not work in Florida. If you don't ask and find out what they're doing, you're never going to know. So we have 1 million members you can network with. If you see guys being successful, don't be afraid to visit with them for a while. They'd love to hear from you. I know if you called Bob up and told him, hey, you got 20 members, excuse me, can you tell me what you're doing? Bob's going to be happy to let him know, hey, I'm doing this. Makes him feel good. He's being successful and somebody noticed, and he's sharing an idea. So don't be afraid to network and share ideas with each other. Regardless of how great we know the Veterans of Foreign Wars is, and talking about it, we're going to be saying we're doing this and we're doing that, and we're going over the fact sheet and the priority goals. It's important to remember that members when they want to join, ultimately they do know, they want to know what's in it for me. There's always a with them. There's always a what can the VFW do for me? So when you're going through your priority goals, your fact sheets, we have one student veteran, we have unmet needs, we have scholarships, we have a lot of things here that we can show them. Make sure when you're talking to a potential member or even a member that's recently joined and don't know the benefits of the organization, everything on all these sheets is not going to be important and not to be every member. So it's we have a lot of recruiting material here available to you. We have a recruiting just got easier brochure. We can mail you a hard copy or we can email you a PDF version. I don't think our material is utilized enough. I don't see a lot of material going out. We have 6,900 posts and we don't see hardly any volume at all on our recruiting material going out. So if you need supplies, you can next pick up the recruiting just got easier. Next slide, please. Look at all the things we have to offer. If there's something else that you think would be important, let us know. We make a lot of changes here based on sound advice from somebody that in the field that comes up with an idea or something needs a little tweak. Prime example would be the new applications we have printed. We took the gray box out of the bottom left corner so you can actually read it now. So we provide a lot of quality material and we feel it's 95% user friendly. Help us find that 5% that we can make better. I mean, if you're not making changes to make it better, and there's 3 or 4 of us up here making changes, there's a million of you out in the field. Share your ideas with us and let us know what's going on. If it'll benefit the Veterans of Foreign Wars, we're going to definitely look at it. I get calls every single day about recruiter credit. So I'm going to cover this one more time because I had about 10 yesterday. And the common scenario is, Rick, I went to an event, and we'll call it a yellow ribbon event in a city, and I talked to 1,000 soldiers, and I had 100 of them fill out applications, and I put them in the mail, and I sent them out to the 10 different posts, and I'm still at 1 on my recruiter credit for the year. How come I'm not getting credit? So I asked the hard question, did you collect the dues? Well, no, I didn't. Okay, well, there lies the problem. In order to get recruiter credit, you need to close the deal. When you sell the organization up front, whether it be at a MAP event, an adopt a unit event, a yellow ribbon event, you go down to a reserve center, or you meet somebody on the street, when you sell the VFW, you need to show value in the organization, you need to explain why it's important, and you need to collect dues. If people pay you dues up front on their very first time they join, there's a value in the organization. They understand I'm investing a little bit of money, but I'm doing all this to take care of veterans. If you tell them it's free, and you just take an application and then the post maybe covers the dues or whatever the case may be, the value of the organization is not there. and they're not going to want to pay dues the following year when you go to collect it. Well, it was free last year. Why isn't it free this year? The rule of thumb: sell the organization correctly, get an application, collect dues, you get recruiter credit. If you're going to an event and you get an application, you collect dues, and you send it to a post, and they vote him in and they accept the application and dues, then you should have recruiter credit. And if the quartermaster or something that forgets to put you down, or he throws himself down, send me the application, show me that the signature's on it, that the money was collected, and I can change that in the system, give proper credit where proper is due. And if you're a quartermaster and somebody's doing the work for you, and he sends it to your post, Bob brings you an application with $45, and then the member brings in his DD-214 and everything's great, and you vote on him, give Bob the credit for helping you out. He's making the post stronger. The mobile app is available. The mobile app is available to help you out in recruiting. If you run into somebody, I'm traveling. I was in Philadelphia at the airport, and I ran into an Army guy sitting in the chair. He was from Wisconsin. I signed him up, member at large, department at large for Wisconsin. I collected his dues right there on the smartphone, hit enter. Everything was done. Easy day, got a new member into the organization. We also have the prospecting part, where if somebody wants to be a member of a specific post, we can make it like a prospecting tool, and we can select a specific post, and it sends the message to the quartermaster so they can contact them, and then they would collect the dues, and then they would get the recruiter credit at that time. Bob's reading a long question here. He'll answer that here.
The question is for you, Rick. It says, regarding the automated emails to quartermasters, when a new member prospect is sent via mobile app, could you include in the email the link to the tutorial for utilizing the mobile app? Some new quartermasters don't know how to use it and are reluctant to ask because they don't want to appear inept. The current link to the video is on the new member prospect page, and if you don't know how to use it, they won't know where to look for the tutorial either.
I'd have to talk to IT about that. That's a good question. I don't think they can attach it to the email because I think it's an automated thing set up, but we can definitely send the video to all the departments, or we could probably send a email to all the posts, send a link to the video, and make sure it gets out there so people are more apt to use it or try it out. So we'll make note of that, and we'll look into that.
Or as membership department chairman at meetings, they can make sure that they discuss that during their talk on membership.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't talk it up enough. Any of the things we talk about, it's always kind of like military GMT. You have to kind of cover it once a quarter, every couple months, once, a couple times a year. You always want to keep things on their mind. So, but that's a good idea. Most posts don't use Vmail.
The problem is, Tim, I agree, they don't use Vmail because they're not educated through Vmail. But the problem is we don't have email addresses for most of our posts either to send them an email.
It is a good point, and what I can do, again, is we can send the video link to the department adjutant quartermasters. I'm assuming they have a master roster of all post emails, and we'll send it to Vmail. We'll hit everything we can hit to get it there. That's a good point, and we'll try to make it happen.
The mobile app is available.
Rick Johnson, I carry my laptop. Yeah, right now it's just mobile, and I'm not sure how that would work with OMS because right now it's set up for the quartermasters that can log in and put them into post online, or the member can log in as a new member at large. That's something we can look into, but right now it wasn't on the table. I can't read the question. Can you make everything in a DVD format? Anything I offer, you can, like most of the VFW videos that we offer, you can get from YouTube. But anything that we have, if you want it on CD, just dart me an email, and I'll burn anything I got and send it to you. I send out DVDs every day to, especially some of the guys that are not real user-friendly with computers. They call me up and, hey, Rick, can you give me that on DVD? I don't have a problem. I I can put it on DVD and send it out to whoever needs it. So our emails and contact are up here. rbutler@vfw.org is mine. bkreider@vfw.org is Bob's. The general rule is it's your first initial last name at vfw.org. So if you're looking at for anybody in the organization, it's the easy way to find them. Call and leave me a message. No, I agree. YouTube doesn't always work for you. There is a way to save a YouTube video as a hard file to your computer as well, and I can send those instructions out as well. That'll help you out some. But again, I don't have any problem. I can send CDs out all day long if somebody needs them. 6,000 if I got to. I mean, whatever we can do to make it easier for you, we're going to do.
People in non-rural areas can cut DVDs and send them out too.
Yep. Whatever we need to do to help you, give me a call and let me know. But I burn DVDs every day. Glenn, I'm trying to see here.
When receiving a potential member, you give us the name and post number, post achieving the time, trying to get an address on potential members. Do you get the address on them?
It's in with the, if you actually click there's like a drop down or a plus or minus sign by the name when you get a mobile recruiter app sent to a quartermaster, and it lists their address and phone number. It's in all the records. If you're not finding it, call me up and we'll walk you through one. But we do list the addresses on the referrals. All the personal information that they would have collected prior to payment is available to the quartermaster.
And anyone who wants that information, Rick, just have them send you an email asking for that information.
Yep. What's that? Please, can you send me the information?
Well, if they send us an email rather than just,
right.
Because when we put this to file, we're going to miss some requests. So any requests that anyone has, just please email, rbutler@vfw.org and let them know what you're.
Yeah. Good point, Bob. When we shut the recording off, we're going to send this video link out. But if there's something in the comments that you really need, a video or PowerPoint, whatever the case may be, and you want it on CD-ROM, just start me a quick email, and I run through them every day. I answer every email I have prior to going home. Within 24 hours,